It's a story of sacrifice and selflessness. 80 years ago today, the sinking of a military ship, as devastating as it was, brought out the best qualities in at least 4 of the passengers on board.
And the legacy of their heroic acts continues to this very day.
What so proudly we hailed.
You may not have ever heard the story of these 4 Army chaplains painted on this board, but their heroic acts have formed the basis of both a solemn and celebratory service these past several decades.
We stand in utmost admiration for these chaplains, Methodist, Jewish, Reformed, and Roman Catholic.
The chaplains were on board the U.S. Army transit ship, the Dorchester, when it was torpedoed by the Germans in the North Atlantic on February 3rd, 1943. Survivors say the men gave away their life jackets and ministered to the others as the ship went down.
What's unique about this is the fact that these 4 chaplains, as the story goes by some survivors, that they were locked in arms, okay? And they were singing hymns and praying as the ship was sinking. And thus they went down into the waters, the icy cold waters of the North Atlantic.
674 of the more than 900 on board would die that night. 80 years later, the story of their sacrifice lives on in this Jacksonville ceremony, which honored others for their good deeds, like retired General Michael Fleming.
It's quite emotional. My father was stationed at the Naval Station Mayport and then met my mom and then ended up staying here. And that's why I was born and raised in Jacksonville. So it's such an honor in my hometown to be able to do so much. And then the 4 chaplains, they have a great story of self-sacrifice. So I've been very blessed in my military career to be able to combine my faith with being able to serve in the military.
Also honored, Charles David Jr. 80 years ago, as a steward's mate first class in the Coast Guard, he dove into the North Atlantic to try to rescue those from the torpedoed Dorchester.
He landed on that ship, on that escort carrier, and then jumped in the water. Unfortunately, because of the exertion of his efforts, he died of pneumonia 40 days later. He was subsequently awarded posthumously the Navy and Marine Corps Cross for Heroism. And in 2013, a United States Coast Guard cutter was named after Charles W. David Jr.
The 4 chaplains were George Fox, Alexander Good, Clark Poling, and John Washington. The sinking of the Dorchester was considered the 2nd worst sea disaster of World War II.